Today on Aqua Kids.
The Aqua Kids are back again with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to see the efforts being made to restore river herring to the Patapsco River in Maryland.
Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do. Saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and blue. For me and you. Aqua Kids.
In all of my travels, I've visited many rivers just like this one, crystal clear and teeming with life. A lot of them throughout the world flow through cities and unfortunately end up void of that life. We have one just south of here that's exactly like that, the Patapsco. Let's head down and see what Selena and Andrew are finding out about the aquatic life and how it's being revived in the river.
John's up here waiting for us. Let's go see what we're gonna do today.
All right. Hey, John.
Hey, Aqua Kids.
How you
Nice to
doing?
meet you in person.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to the Patapsco.
Thanks. What are we gonna be doing today?
Well, I'm hoping we're going to go out and catch some fish.
All right, let's get to it.
All right.
All
Let me get you
right.
a life jacket.
All right.
Let me introduce you to the Patapsco. This little side creek empties right there to the Patapsco.
So will we be staying in the Patapsco the whole time?
Yes, the whole time. And the whole time we're going to be in the tidal freshwater section of the Patapsco.
Tidal, non-tidal, what's that?
Well, tidal waters are influenced by the moon. So twice daily, there's a high tide and a low tide. Non-tidal is more like flowing rivers. They only go in one direction, versus tidal goes uphill at one time and downhill the next.
So John, just looking at this water here, it seems so murky and brown. Why is that?
That's the issue with the Patapsco. The Patapsco is an urban watershed. It receives a lot of runoff from the adjacent uplands, the adjacent high ground. And when it rains, things flow off of parking lots, off of roads, off of lawns, and it all goes downhill and ends up in the river.
So how do fish live in this chocolate milk?
That's an interesting question. When they first gave me this project, I thought, I'm going to be working on a dead river. The Patapsco's not dead. It may be chocolate right now because we've had a lot of rain, but the numbers of fish and the diversities of species we see is amazing.
So after rainfall events, when there's more runoff and the water is more brown like this, does that make it harder for the fish to breathe?
Sure it does. It depletes oxygen. It can also sediment over habitats that they need. It makes it tougher on a fish. Keep in mind we've had a lot of rain, so what you're seeing right now is a worst case scenario. So it's kind of a slug of bad news that will improve. If we implement best management practices on the high ground and decrease the amount of sediment coming in, the river will bounce back.
So John, tell me about the project.
Well, the reason we're doing this, the Maryland Port Administration is responsible for maintaining navigation in the shipping channels. This could sound like a long story. They have to dredge. When you dredge, the stuff you dredge up, you have to put someplace. They put it at a place called Masonville. In so doing, they filled roughly 130 acres of aquatic habitat. To compensate for that, they wanted to do something for the Patapsco, which feeds into Masonville. So they paid the Maryland Department of Natural Resources to go out and catch herring and shad, 2 species of each, and try and reintroduce them into the river to bolster the remnant shad and herring population that still exists.
So how do you go about reintroducing these fish?
What they do is go out and collect brood stock. Think adult moms and dads. They spawn them in a hatchery.
Okay.
They grow them up to a certain size, and then they physically come here and put them back into the river. We've been talking about fish, but really, I'm also amazed every time I come out here, the diversity of other species like wildlife, particularly birds. Every time we come out here, of course, nope, there's an osprey.
Oh, I see it.
We see ospreys, we see bald eagles. We think they're nesting in the area. We see great blue herons, we see snowy egrets, we see muskrat, white-tailed deer.
Really?
You'd never know we're this close to Baltimore City.
More from the Patapsco River right after this.
Now it's time for Aqua Quiz with your host, Drew Cruz.
I'm your host, Drew Cruz, and now it's time to test your knowledge with Aqua Quiz. River herring were once among the most abundant species in the Chesapeake, but their populations have become so low along the East Coast that they were recently considered for listing under the Federal Endangered Species Act. The term river herring applies to two fish species. Are they A, blueback herring, B, shad, C, alewives, or D, none of the above? I'll have the answer after the break. Welcome back. Do you know the two species known as river herring? The answers are A and C, blueback herring and alewives. I'll see you next week with another fish tale. Aqua Quiz.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids.
So John, I can't help but notice that there's quite a bit of trash in the river here.
Andrew, that's a real sore point with me. Yeah, I think we can restore the river. I think it's going to cost a lot of money. But the one thing we could fix that would be so cheap is to keep the garbage out of the river.
Definitely.
It's just the way people treat the land. You know, it's an education issue, not a regulatory issue.
So where is it all coming from?
It's coming off of parking lots. It's coming off of garbage heaps next to trash cans that people aren't using. It's coming off of people's lawns. It's coming out your car window if that's the way you get rid of your garbage. It all goes downhill, it all enters the river, and ultimately it all ends out in Chesapeake Bay.
So how does it get into the river though?
Well, the infrastructure in urban areas is when it rains, they need to get the water off people's driveways, the roads, etc. So it goes into a storm drain. The storm drain typically runs through a pipe that ultimately connects to the river.
Selena, is that a cleanup going on over there?
Yeah, I think it is. Let's go check it out.
All right. Let's talk to some of these folks.
Let's do it. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? It looks like you guys are doing a beach cleanup. Who are you guys?
We're Baltimore Greenworks Youth Works crew for the summer. The name of the group is Clean Core, and we're working with the Sustainability Commission, and on Tuesdays we do shoreline cleanups. We started at Middle Branch and now we're over here at Ferry Bar.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. We work with the kids for 5 weeks of the summer, and we're focusing on trash, and Tuesday's water day, and we spend all day getting as much as we can.
So where do the kids come from and how do they get involved?
All our kids are from Sandtown and Reservoir Hill. The age range is 16 to 17. I have a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old though, and they work for us throughout the summer.
Is it all right if we go talk to some of them?
Oh, I hope you will.
All right, let's go. We're here with Sydney. Tell me what it is you're doing and how you got involved.
Well, today we're doing a shoreline cleanup, and I applied for a youth works job, and this is what I was assigned to. I was not expecting this at all, but it's really fun.
So Sydney, in what ways do you feel like you're helping the environment doing this?
Well, I definitely feel like this is helping the wildlife, because all of this trash, it can affect like the fish in the water. And it also affects neighborhoods because you can like clog up storm drains with trash and then the streets will flood. So it helps the community and the wildlife.
We're here now with Dante. Tell me what it is you're doing here.
Well, we're doing shoreline cleaning up the shore, trying to just make it look better than what it looks like now.
And are you happy that you've got involved?
Yes, I am happy because it's important to keep the environment clean.
What we're finding most here is water bottles, and this can be prevented if you just recycle them.
Oh, hi.
Hey, I'm so glad you're here. You know, it always excites me to meet young people who love to protect the earth as much as I do. Young people who are pioneering powerful ways to conserve and protect our planet for all of us. I call them eco-defenders. Let's find out what they're up to.
My personal interest in climate change exists because I know that there's something we can do about it. But as a majority, we're not. And that's why I try to work as much as I possibly can, because I know something good is going to come out of it. They describe New York as a melting pot. I would call this neighborhood alone just a melting pot. We have a highway that runs through our entire neighborhood with no entrances but only exits that higher income neighborhoods don't even see. We have power plants that serve their neighborhoods. I grew up on a waterfront community with no access to my waterfront just because of heavy industry that's on the waterline. Environmental justice means, to me, fighting for what's right. And we run programs at Uprose to engage younger groups of people in order to introduce a knowledge of environmental justice. I was one of them at one point. I didn't understand what could possibly happen if I didn't step up and do something. A big thing that we started was the community mapping. We would walk around with groups of kids with notepads and maps and count the different burdens that we see. And to understand that a contaminated field could possibly be a playground for them to play in is something to get them used to seeing how to make change in their own neighborhood. The Climate Justice and Resiliency Center was started here at Uprose, and the overall goal was to come up with a plan on how to fight climate change. We've been trying to find a way to collect as many youth as we can to participate in environmental justice. The summit is a 2-day event. There's workshops, there's learning circles. A lot of these youth know nothing about the environment, know nothing about the impact that the things they do have on the world. You came because our generation is going to be impacted by the environmental burdens we live in. But most of all, you came because you know frontline resistance. So let's get this started. We try to engage them as much as possible. We try to get their minds working so that they can see how they can turn just an idea into reality. When I explain to them that I have a rational fear of sea level rise, that means something. They understand that, wait, that's something that someone's actually afraid of. The environmental work I'm doing is for future generations.
Wasn't that amazing? Okay, now it's your turn. If you or someone you know is doing something remarkable to help our planet, let us know about it, and you could be our next eco-defender. I gotta go.
Aqua Kids will be right back.
Want to keep up with our adventures? Follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids.
In my travels, I have witnessed a lot of people making a concerted effort and a big difference to help keep this planet green and blue. Let's get back to the Aqua Kids as they near the end of their adventure.
All right, this is their first sampling location. This is the most upriver sampling location, the location further from the saltwater of the Chesapeake Bay. And we're hoping to catch some shad and herring here.
All right.
Here comes Ashley. She's from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. She's going to help us with the seining.
All right, cool.
The kids are over here putting their waders on and they're getting ready to jump in the river with me, and we're going to seine and see if we can't catch some shad and river herring today.
Hey, Ashley. Hey, Aqua Kids. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Okay, let's get started. Come on down. All right, guys, let's go get the net and get the net ready to go.
All right. You want to grab that in?
We'll go right over here. Okay guys, we're gonna get started and I'm gonna walk you through what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick up the net and we're gonna take it out here and we're gonna stretch it out as far as you can go. You don't want to swamp your waders.
Okay.
And then once you get out as far as you can, you're gonna make a turn. We're gonna go that way and then arc it in towards shore.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's pick it up. So let's walk over here. Which one of you would like to walk it first?
I'll do it.
Good. All right, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna walk it out there, and as you're walking, I'm gonna peel it off, and once my end is completely peeled out, then you can start peeling your net off the top, okay?
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds fun. He's gonna be halfway across the river.
Go ahead and start peeling the net off the top of yours, and you can start arcing in then.
Okay. It's quite muddy out here. My feet keep slipping, but hopefully we get a bunch of fish.
Watch it, you might get water in your waders.
I hope not. We better get a ton of fish.
All right, you did a real good job. So keep the lead line on the bottom and start walking this way.
Okay.
I'll walk towards you. Okay guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna drop the brails that are holding the end. And then we wanna get right down with the net and pull it in.
Okay.
And we wanna kind of pull it in nice and even.
Should I start on this side?
Yep, and you can start on that side.
Okay.
You wanna do this? Sure. All right, just keep pulling it in nice and low. Try to keep your lead line a little bit lower. There you go. Pull it in. That sandbar is a little in the way right there. Yeah.
Looks like we got one here. I'm gonna go put it in the bucket.
Let's try to shake some of these guys down into the pocket, we call it.
The pocket. Let's see what we got.
Okay, Andrew, let's take a look.
All right, here's one right here.
All right, that is what we were looking for. This is a river herring.
Awesome. How can you tell it's a river herring?
So what we do is we open up the mouth here, and it's a little hard to see, but they have like a sharp upturn in the lower jaw, whereas a shad will have a shallow upturn in the lower jaw.
Okay.
So this is a gizzard shad, and how we know it's a gizzard shad, a lot by this big black dot that he has right behind his operculum, and also the blunt nose.
Let's see what else we got. What's that one?
This fish is a pumpkin seed.
A pumpkin seed?
A pumpkin seed. So how we can tell it's a pumpkin seed is by that red spot right there, right behind the black spot on the operculum. And it's very similar to another fish we have here called the red breast sunfish. And how we tell the difference between those is the length of the pectoral fin. So if we just raise the pectoral fin up like that, it comes almost to the top of the body. That tells us it's a pumpkin seed. If it was a red breast, the pectoral fin would be short and more rounded.
What are these right in here?
Oh, these are baby largemouth bass. What are these? These are banded killifish.
Oh.
So we can see here, this is actually a male and a female.
Which is which?
The male, in the animal kingdom, males tend to be more brightly colored and showy. So this is the male with all of the bluish bands.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the female, and she's a little bit more drab looking, and she has these small dark bands.
Now, if you were doing your study, what would you do at this point?
So we would look at all the fish in here, and we would sort them by species and then count each fish.
Okay. Now, do you take any back to the lab?
We do. The shad and river herring that we catch, we will take back to the lab, and then I will take out their ear bones, they're otoliths, and I'll mount them on a slide and look at them under a microscope and see if they have a special mark to know if that they're hatchery fish or if they're wild fish, and that helps us determine population. Okay guys, let's take these fish back to the water and release them.
All right.
Okay.
Aqua Kids will be right back.
Hey, it's Drew. Join the Aqua Kids next week as we learn about ocean acidification and its effects on marine life, specifically lobsters.
I'm Jalen, and this is Earth Edition. In 2015, NOAA Fisheries and the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission released the River Herring Conservation Plan. It coordinates the efforts between scientists, government agencies, and tribal leaders, and will engage the public with awareness and progress. NOAA Fisheries and the Commission believe that this partnership is critical for improving consistent data collection throughout the Atlantic coast. This program could keep river herring off the endangered species list. The Atlantic States Marine Fishery Commission includes 15 Atlantic coast states. It coordinates the conservation and management of 23 fish species with the shared near-shore fishery resources. NOAA is an acronym for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which studies the skies and the oceans. I'm Jalen, and this is Earth Edition.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids.
Okay, looking behind us, the city of Baltimore. You can see the skyscraper. Yep. So we've been from the upriver end, which is sending a lot of garbage this way, down to the downward river end, where most people associate the Patapsco with the harbor. It's a high-use area. People care about it. People fish here, people boat here. It's all connected. So hopefully what we're doing, and what the state's doing, the port's doing, will benefit the people that actually live in the city.
Well, thank you so much, John. After everything we've seen today, I definitely realize how important your project is to this area.
Well, thank you for coming. It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting the Aqua Kids organization. And hopefully we'll get to do it again.
Of course.
That really was a great time.
It was.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How was your trip?
Good.
Tell me a little something you learned.
Projects like this are restoring fish to urban waterways.
And it's important to keep waterways like the Patapsco clean and healthy because the Patapsco leads to the Chesapeake, which leads to the Atlantic Ocean.
Great job. Remember, it's up to you to keep it green and blue. Help protect our planet, and we'll see you next time on Aqua Kids.
Bye.
Aqua Kids, Aqua Kids, doing what we have to do, saving our earth, land, air, and sea. All we gotta do is keep it green and blue.